Science and technology is the basis of the development of any nation. That is what everyone says, and in Nigeria it is a sing-song. But in practical terms, what have we done about this? Of course, there have been a raft of policies and programs. The question is, can we shout Eureka to borrow from the legend of the ancient Greek inventor Archimedes? Obviously we can't, which is why government is aggressively promoting innovations. One of the means to catalyze this is the Science and Technology Expo. The third edition in Abuja is bringing together researchers, inventors, and innovators. What do they have for the nation? That is what we'll be discussing on Nigeria Today. I am Wilfred Ewalefu. Highlights there of the third expo holding in Abuja, which was declared open by the Vice President Yemi Osibanjo. We also had, some of the clips of some of the innovations or inventions on display. And our focus today will be on the Science and Technological Expo. And with me in the studio is the Executive Vice Chairman of the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI, Professor Mohammed Haruna. Prof, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Good evening, viewers.
And also in the studio is the Deputy Vice President of the Association of Nigerian Inventors, Mr. Lawrence Nzenegu. Mr. Nzenegu, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
Now let's get straight into the matter, beginning with Professor Mohammed Haruna. Science and Tech Expo, Dream of Science and Tech. We've been on and on about this. What exactly is the obstacle? What has been holding us back from achieving that objective?
One of the things that is drawing us back is what the Expo is coming to do. Lack of synergy, lack of working together. Everyone is doing his own things differently. There is no collaboration. The private sector is doing its thing differently. What is being done in research and development institutions is for their laboratories. What is being done in the institution, tertiary institution, the universities, for example, is for publications. These products, after successfully invented or after a prototype is developed, papers are published for the sake of promotion. Commercialization is not taking place. In fact, when someone needs similar product tomorrow, he go back to the laboratory and try to reinvent the wheel instead of working in harmony. Now, Expo such as this is bringing everyone together for you to know what has been done, to look for, because it's not only the researchers and inventors that are there, also investors are there to see what is commercialized, what can be commercialized, what can quickly go to the market. So that is the missing link, and this gap is what the Expo is trying to bridge.
Okay, fundamentally what they refer to sometimes as the town and the gown coming together.
Yes.
Mr. Nzenegu, the Prof just talked about lack of synergy. For you, what really has been the obstacle to us accomplishing our goals with regards to science and technology?
Okay, thank you. Prof really elaborated on that, and inventors are barely thinking as people, the regular people you meet on the street, who figure out ways to solve their immediate problem. An invention is devising a means to come out of, where you're caged, and it goes. Now, as Prof talked about synergy, that's the major thing that is lacking. Like I'm the Vice National President Association of Nigerian Inventors. By the time I got informed of this program, I tried my best to reach out to inventors, but many of them, they didn't have the money to transport themselves to the fair. And a lot of them have very wonderful products, you know, which if they had the opportunity to get them on ground, the world will like, you know, so this is from Nigeria. So, Prof, you rightly mentioned the synergy is the problem there.
Now, are you suggesting that there's a lack of communication? There's a communication gap between, you know, the organizers and the inventors? Because if you're saying that they know aware about this.
Well, the Association of Nigerian Inventors is a body on its own, which I know there was a little communication gap, which I'm there now to bridge.
Okay. Okay. Now let's buckle down the whole essence of the expo itself. And Prof talked about, you know, it facilitating the communication, the synergy between these different elements that should actually come together for this to work. At this expo, Prof, what are the mechanics of these, you know, coming to be? You know, how are these different elements being coupled together?
Well, as I said earlier, no nation can move forward unless the private sector is taken from research and development outfit, is taken from the tertiary institutions, their prototype, ready to be commercialized for mass production to the market. And also, those doing research and development must do need-oriented research, must do market-driven product. In other words, they must work with the private sector to see what is needed in the market so that they are not working in isolation. Now, environments such as this, you have successfully produced a product, you have its business plan and program of action, you meet the investors and discuss about it. You may have the brain, but you don't have the money as an individual, if not government organization. You will see someone who is willing to take to the market and give you value for your money.
Sorry if I'm interjecting. When I was talking about the mechanics, I was actually trying to establish on the ground right now.
Yes.
Do you truly have investors? And he just mentioned the fact that, you know, that many of the inventors were not aware about this. I'm saying, so what do you have on the ground now, you know, to bring about this?
Yeah. I want to say that he is not saying that they are not aware of, but they don't have the wherewithal, the resources to travel from their various locations
no, sorry,
to Abuja.
Let's just get that right, because actually he talked about the communication gap, that by the time they got to know about it, you know, some of them didn't have the money. So that's why I mentioned the issue of the communication gap.
Yes.
But anyway, let's just actually look at what we have on the ground with regards to the expo.
Yes.
Mr. Nzanego, what really for the inventors, for your association, I mean, what have you been able to bring to the expo now?
Okay. With a short notice, I was able to stretch out to the people. I had their details. Many of them were like, oh, this is too short. Some of them were like, you've had this invitation all along, but you never reached out to us. But I said, just got this 2 Fridays ago, which is on the document. You know, but for now, I know with what is happening today, a lot of them were like, I really missed out, because we're going to kickstart, like I mentioned today at the Expo Hall, that I'm going to reach out to all the people present. When you talk of Association of Nigerian Inventors, it's not just someone that invented a cure, you know, for a disease. It's an inventor. But when you come to the association, they are not there. You know, so I'm struggling now with my team and our President General. You know, sorry he's not here, Chief Engineer.
Okay, fine. Let's actually just even get to the point. How far do you think Nigerian inventors have come, really, with regards to, you know, some of this?
Nigerian inventors, if I can say, have come of age. And the point is, when you don't say, I am here, people will not say you're there. Now, I saw, someone who brought product from India, which I know they produce everywhere in Nigeria. The point is having the entrepreneurs recognize these inventors is a blind guess, like the snooker player will say it's a blind shot. So they have to take this blind shot, pick up an inventor, push him to the next level, where the the quality control has to play is to make sure they come out, because it's a competitive world. So we are lacking the commitment or the trust of the investors or promoters.
Okay. Well, okay, Professor Mohammed, talking about products on the ground, I mean, we understand that Naseni has, is enjoying some kind of pride of place now in view of what you have on the ground. You have self-driving car. Can you talk to us about that?
What we have there is unmanned aerial vehicle, which is an aircraft. It's a multi-purpose aircraft that we flew today to demonstrate. It is basically meant for agriculture, to help in the spread of herbicide, pesticide control, and in the process we discovered that it can even be a surveillance vehicle. It can gather information because it has camera. It can also help in quenching fire when there is fire disaster, especially very tall buildings where human beings arriving there can be hazardous. It can also help traffic control in terms of traffic control when there is some logjam. In addition, it is very important device for manning our pipeline, power line against vandalization, because it can give you real data. All other emergencies, this is handy because it fly with precision and arrive with precision.
Yeah, really, but for your agency, you know, you are in charge of science and engineering infrastructure. What kind of inventions, aside from this unmanned vehicle, that you have come up with?
There are many interventions. For example, we have electronic voting solution there. We have power equipment devices there. We also have agricultural input, some latest technology that we have invented to make farming very attractive and easy. A lot of manpower that is exhibited in farming, cultivation, in harvesting, in processing. We have different machines appropriate for that latest product in the market, easy to operate. We have in the areas of education, in energy, power, light-saving bulbs, and so on and so forth.
Okay. Mr. Zanago, would you want to speak on the innovations on display at the Expo?
Well, there are innovations. Having innovations isn't enough. Where do you get to from bringing out new devices?
But you need to start somewhere.
That's actually where I want to get to now, because the Science and Tech Minister, he has come out and beckoning on inventors. He didn't just say made in Nigerian goods. This is a vision, you know, trying to devise our means of solving our problems by ourselves, not being dependent on the international world. These are things we can do. I strongly believe, you know, this expo is going to be a major eye-opener to others, like the students. You know, I have some little boys in my stand, you know, who make crafts and sort, but to the students, to all the other people on the roadside who have devised means of survival, which, like some make grinding machines by themselves, but locally they devise this without importing the foreign ones. You know, these are all a big feat. What they actually need is being recognized, and then move them to, you know, a better height where they solve their family needs, they create employment. You know, it keeps our money.
Yes, I mean, ultimately, I mean, that's probably, you know, what the multiplier effect is. But, you know, but we are looking at, first of all, the catalyst for all this to happen. And the catalyst for all this to happen, suggestively, it has to do with, you know, programs like the Expo and a number of things that the Vice President talked about at the opening ceremony. But we'll deal with some of those issues when we come back from this break. We are on Nigeria Today, and we're discussing the Science and Technological Expo going on in Abuja. Stay with us after this break.
Coming up on NTA News 24, Nigeria Today, 7:30, Monday to Friday, with exciting anchors on topical issues. Inspirators, a search for those who inspire others. Business 24, a business magazine program. Late edition repackaged. Fresh and exciting programming on NTA News 24. Stay with us. On NTA News 24, Nigeria Today, 7:30, Monday to Friday, with exciting anchors on topical issues. Inspirators, a search for those who inspire others. Business 24, a business magazine program. Late edition repackaged. Fresh and exciting programming on NTA News 24. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Nigeria Today, in which we are discussing science and technology against the background of the ongoing expo in Abuja. Joining us now in the studio is the Director of Science and Tech, a promotion at the Ministry of Science and Tech, Mr. Ekanem Udo. Mr. Udo, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
And still with us in the studio is the Executive Vice Chairman of NASENI, Professor Mohammed Haruna. And just a while back, we had with us the Vice President of the Inventors Association, Mr. Lawrence Nzenegu, who was signed up just before the break. Now let's start off this part with Mr. Udo. Mr. Udo, let's look at the Science and Tech Expo. What actually was the intention?
Thank you. The intention of the Expo is to encourage investors to take up our research and development products for commercialization. That means what we are doing at the Expo is to bring researchers, inventors, innovators in one hand, and now bring investors on the other hand and bring them to the table. Show to the investors what the researchers have done. Show to them what the inventors, innovators have done, and seek collaboration, and seek friendship, and seek networking.
Okay.
And ask them, can you please take this research result with your money to the marketplace?
Okay, well, actually, let me interject. Actually, I mean, that's a point that was made initially by Professor Mohammed when we started this program. But we had the first edition of this expo.
Yeah.
How much of that was accomplished?
Tremendous. Between that time and now, in fact, we have been encouraged to immediately start to prepare for this edition that is holding now because of the output of that first one. The first one held in April, and this one is holding April 2017, and this one is March 2018. You can see we were almost in a hurry to start another one because the public said, please give us this almost more regularly because it offers them the opportunity to see what we have been doing in our various laboratories. When we say this expo is organized by science and technology, it does not mean it is only for science and technology institutions. Science and technology cut across all other MDAs, and those other MDAs that are supervising agencies in health, in agriculture, in environment, we bring them all together. And if you were there last year, and even the one that's going on now, you see that we have universities, polytechnics, colleges of research don't only take place in S&T agencies. Research takes place in other agencies or other arms of government. So what we are doing, we invite the universities, polytechnics, bring what you have done. So more or less it's an open laboratory show that we are doing. What have been doing in your laboratories, bring them up, let everybody see.
Yes, okay. Thank you very much for your opening comment. Professor, you know, I keep on stressing the fact that you are in charge of science and engineering infrastructure. I mean, how much of that really are we seeing at this fair?
We are seeing so much of it at this fair. The highlight of it, as far as NASENI is proud of, is the unmanned aerial vehicle. As I said, is multi-purpose. It's for agriculture, it's for security, it's for safety, it's for health. It is for, saving situations that will have been hazardous for human beings to be there. So it combines so many things. Again, there is electronic voting machine. There are solar products, 100% made in Nigeria for solar energy, solar power. There are educational, tertiary educational equipment for laboratory, for training of students, for them to have hands-on. There are other products to make farming cultivation.
Do we have a sense of how many of such, products that we have on display at the expo?
For Naseni, what we didn't come with last year, but we came with this year, we have up to 37 new products.
Okay, Mr. Oda, altogether, how many inventions would you say we have on display at this expo? And, if you go back last year, you actually had the involvement of the Institute of Higher Learning. I mean, Covenant University had quite some innovations on last year and all that. How involved are they in this expo?
Apart from Covenant that attended in full force, let me say so, last time, those that were not there last year, they have shown interest because they saw us and they have come. A group like the NMPC that was not there last year, they are here, and today was the special day. Their GMD was there. The other groups of government, other agencies of government that did not attend our event last year, they have come around this time around. Yes, during the opening ceremony, there was difficulty getting through to all the exhibitions because of the crowd. But after that now, opportunities exist for members of the public to, on their own, between tomorrow now and Friday, visit the stand. I'm assuring them that it will not be as crowded as it was today, because today was the opening. Many people came across the country and to witness this opening. So from tomorrow, Nigerians can visit the stand, go from one pavilion to the other.
Okay, fine. Now, Professor Mohammed, the Vice President talked about establishing technological hubs in universities across the country during his opening speech. How would that be a catalyst really for science and technological development?
This will promote and it will help to facilitate what the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology is already doing. You may know that the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology has already been establishing what we call incubation centers. Naseni centers also are not only in Abuja, they are across the country. So if there are hope that will promote commercialization of what is, all we need to do is to synergize, to collaborate with these centers from where offshoot of new companies taking our new technologies to the market will emerge from. It is what is desired.
And Mr. Oda, what do you think about that?
It's quite right there. But if you ask me 10 times I will say what we are doing and what this expo is all about is to...
How do you mobilize for this expo? How do you mobilize? How do you reach out to inventors and people who are
preparing for this expo 2018 started June 2017. Don't forget that I said the April 2017 was when we did our expo, the first one. Thereafter, because of the journey from Nigeria, we started in June 2017 to reach out to inventors, to investors, to researchers, to innovators. That this day is coming. I don't think it is happening in 2018 March. Please start to prepare. All the DGs of the agency of the ministry met with the Minister of Science and Technology and agreed, following this success, let's quickly start to prepare for another one.
Sorry, quickly, because time is far gone. How much involvement do we have of the private sector?
Quite tremendous too. If you come around tomorrow is what we call Research and Development Commercialization Day, R&D Commercialization Day. FIRO is anchoring that day to show that really we can take our research results to the marketplace. And we have invited people to come around and see what are the things that have been bothering you. Come, let us discuss about that. That's going to happen between tomorrow and Thursday.
Okay, fine.
We have 10 sessions between these.
I'm sorry, I'm going to stop you there because of the time, and I'll just take actually a last word from Professor Mohammed. I mean, with this expo, are we positioned really to, as it were, maybe alter the narrative about science and technology in Nigeria?
Yeah, the expo is to provide us an opportunity in addition to several other benefits to assess where we are, what we have, what we lack, and how far we have to go. The truth of the matter is that the journey has begun. The distance is much, but with this effort, it is said that a journey of 1,000 miles starts with steps. Yeah. So we are in the right direction.
Professor Mohammed Haruna, Deputy Executive Vice Chairman of NASENI, would like to thank you very much for coming to Nigeria today.
Thank you very much.
And Mr. Kanem Udo, Director of Science and Tech Promotion at the Ministry of Science and Technology, would like to thank you for coming to Nigeria today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Well, we have been discussing technology and innovation for development on Nigeria today against the background of the expo holding in Abuja on science and technology. That's our program for today. Thanks very much for watching. I'm Wilfred. Wonderful. Gentlemen.